Hey guys, this is Streaming Iraq War Veteran here, back with another video. This is going to be a quick buyer beware, basically. I'm going to have to change that title. But this is basically going to be a buyer beware of the new Dell XPS. I'm not sure what the number is, but I'm about to show you which one I'm actually talking about. I just want to pop up chat. This is the new XPS Special Edition, which is not that special. This is what it comes with base right off the bat, okay? Actually, it's 8 gigs, I think, normally, but even for what's on there, this is actually pretty decent of a system. Like other people have been stating in there, um, it's not a bad thing if you don't plan on upgrading, but if you plan on upgrading, this has the same issue as the G5 does. So, realistically, if you want to upgrade to a better graphics card, you can't. And I'll show you down below why. But it's the same problem that they had on the XPS or on the G5 desktop. But this is your base specs on the new XPS Special Edition. Okay, 16 gig, one 16 gig stick, DDR4 2666. It comes with a GTX 1660 Super 6 gig card. 256 gigabyte M.2 NVMe and a 1 terabyte drive. I have this in mine, and it's an awesome for the operating system alone. It makes it start up very quickly. Mine's like a 2 terabyte though for the mass storage. Windows 10, I have the same thing there, but mine's an i7 here, 8700. This one's a i5 10400 is the base, which is 6 core, 12 threads. So the CPU is hyper-threading. Let me actually get some pictures on that to let you know if it's going to be a hot chip or not. Okay. You see this here. There is no... I'll show you a difference here. i7... 4760, was it? Damn, what was it? 20... hang on. B3 processor. I'm about to show you what the major difference is with these chips. Okay, 5960 or 5820. That's what I had before. i7 5820. That was the best chip I've ever had, honestly, and it still I like it better than the ones that they have nowadays. All right. But as you see here, any one of these will pull up like this here. But you see this image of this processor. This is a good processor. When you see that hole, that means it's a bit different than you'll see on this one. This is the newer processors. You don't see that little hole that you see in this one. This hole right here is very important to how the chip is put together. The integrated heat spreader, which is this. Okay? This one does not have it. So this one is soldered on. No, not soldered on. It's actually just like glued on. So this one here, since it's not soldered on, will be a hotter chip than how they used to do it with this one, where it's soldered on. This one is soldered. And the reason it has to have that hole is when they're soldering it, it vents the gas out. And none of these newer chips, including my i7 8700, have this. They've all been glued on anymore with like a thermal compound. It's like a thermal... It's a thermal cement, basically, and it's not as good as when they did it with this. So even though this newer chip on the Dell comes with a better CPU cooler than mine does, by the way, it's still going to be hotter than previous generations of chips. Let's get back to this. So that's the base price of this system with that setup right there, about $1,300. Okay. You can upgrade it all the way up to that. They recommend an i9. I don't recommend that. Anybody that's doing general tasks and stuff like that should be fine with an i7. I would say going with this one here, the i7-10700, because that is an 8-core 16-thread. You'll be perfectly fine doing all of your tasks with that because it does have hyper-threading. The K models, I would never suggest overclocking on any of the boards that come with Dell because they're garbage boards. And the reason all of the motherboards in there are garbage is because they don't have the power phases that a good overclocking motherboard will have. But if you don't plan on doing any of that stuff, don't get me wrong, it's gonna be a good system. My XPS is a good system. But the difference between my XPS and this one is a few, and I'll show you when we get down there. See, it's a regular 1660. I would recommend either going with this one, or if you can actually afford it, getting the 2070. If you can afford the extra money for the 2070, I would get it. I would raise it up to that. I would raise it to that one there. Like I said, you don't want a K processor. Don't ever overclock, for God's sakes, with these things. You know how many times I got the blue screen of death when I tried that? When you do go to that, you're going to need the 500-watt power supply. That's your normal price. You could drop it down 100 if you wanted to, but I would suggest actually going with at least this one, the 16 gigs here, 2 sticks of 8, because if they're running in dual channel, it's better than running in single channel off of 1 stick. My computer has 32 gigs, which is 4 8s. All you'd have to do is get 2 more 8s later on. This is a little bit faster than the previous generation. The fastest my XPS will only go up to is 2666. This is 2933. But be forewarned, you're not going to notice that much damn difference unless you're some professional doing professional video editing. You're not going to notice a difference. This one can go up higher than mine. This one can go to 128 gigs. Mine could only go to 64. But if you're just playing games and doing general stuff, 16 gigs is plenty. I wouldn't recommend upgrading this. It's unnecessary. That's a perfect size for your boot drive as long as you have something extra, in the secondary slot. I mean, if you really wanted to, yeah, go with this 4 terabyte, but it's slower than that one, so it's going to have less performance. What would I really suggest? No, I would suggest leaving it at this and then going out and buying your own 2 terabyte drive or higher. They're not that expensive. So you can leave it at that. Never get anything killer, wireless internet, any of that shit. Anything that says killer is fucking garbage. I have it built into my motherboard and it's complete shit. My internet runs at 120 megabytes a second on a download, but my killer internet off the motherboard, so the Ethernet, can only go about 50 at max. It's garbage. Don't ever use it. Don't ever get it. Go with any other option. Those are unnecessary. I never get those or that. I don't care about any of that crap or the extras. Excuse me. But this is the system. It pulls air in from the front. Mine did sorta, but it's around the side. My card reader's up here. It's over on the side now. Basically the same layout, but a couple things are missing that mine had that this one doesn't. Oh, no, it's the same layout. It's only missing one thing. I have 3 of these, the USB-C right there, but I also have headphone and microphone audio ports. It's kind of pointless if they have the better one that can take both at the same time. And then the SD card. So that's the only difference there. top loading tray thing like mine. It's actually a laptop style CD drive. This is one thing that I do like about it. This is basically the same setup in a different body as the G5. It's basically the same setup. So with this setup, you're going to get better cooling because of that CPU cooler there. But you want to make sure when you order this damn thing from Dell that you make sure before you purchase it that um, you're getting the actual upgraded CPU cooler. Because if you don't make sure about that, they will give you the stock one. All right, now here's where we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Okay, this is the problem right here. This power supply right here. That is the same bullshit power supply that they put in the G5. You'll never be able to upgrade it because it's shorter and narrower. A normal power supply would probably come up into this fourth slot here and come over to about here. So it'd be about like that. Mine is much better. If I go here, let me show you. Desktop, home. I'll show you mine. So that way there's a comparison. XPS. Damn it, I don't want the old one. Okay, here. Yeah, special edition. It's actually cheaper to get this one. That's funny. Like mine, I'll show you my setup if they have it anymore, which doesn't look like it. They're using the 900s now. I'll just go to this one. Customize. Yeah, it would be. I did the i7. I think mine was just a stock one, maybe. Windows 10. Yeah, they're not even using the GTX 1080 anymore. Let's forget about all that. Um, but if you look down here, even though mine is a weird ass design, you see how big this power supply is? Okay, so it's an 8940 is this one, huh? Look at that. That's how tiny that is. That's going to be insufficient, and it's going to be longer in the case. You can't buy these in the store. This one, you can. You can upgrade this one with any one from any store. Granted, the biggest problem with my system is the cooling. The CPU cooling. I have a stock Intel heatsink. It fucking sucks. But other than that, I have 5 slots that if I needed to use them. And I got a full ATX power supply in here. If you don't believe me, if you look up here, this is the power supply here. It's a swing out power supply. This was supposed to be in mine, but it's not. That's why I'm saying I'm warning you guys to make sure you get the upgraded cooler. If it does not come with it, or if it's not in your parts list and you get it and the stock Intel is in there, they will never give it to you. I dealt with them for weeks trying to get them to give me that fucking part that I was supposed to get, and I never did. Okay, back to the other one. But like I said, this is the biggest problem, this proprietary power supply. I don't like it. I don't think they should be doing that. I don't think that it was a smart choice on their behalf to do that a second time in a row. It's fucking ridiculous. So basically why they did this, it's just a different shell for a fucking G5. That's all it is. It's so stupid. Yeah, you can get monitors and crap. I don't know how it's getting good reviews, to tell you the truth. I mean, I guess it could be a very good system, okay, if you never plan on upgrading it. But I would be so freaking leery about that power supply, I'm telling you. Let's see if I can look up real quick. Dell E5 desktop. Let me see. I'll show you what I'm talking about if I can get an actual real view. God damn this fucking headset. Let me make sure it's still talking to me. I hate that. It does that, and I don't know why. It pisses me off. It'll just shut off like it doesn't have any power or whatever, and I don't get it. I really don't. Just shut off like it doesn't have any power or whatever. Alright, there. Just making sure I can hear myself. Let's see if we can find the inside of the G5, because it's basically the same fucking thing. See, this is what I warned people about here. Yeah, the G5 looks cool. I was almost going to buy it myself until I learned about the power supply. And look at this. It should have come. He got everything with it. Well, he got the base system. That's why it's short. But maybe the base system doesn't come with a better thing. But he got the stock Intel. Granted, he can go out and buy something better because he has more room than I do in mine. But this is the same layout as the other one. Same motherboard probably too. But you see that shitty power supply, how long and narrow it is? That thing's going to overheat. It goes all the way back here. It's almost as long as a hard drive. And you'll never be able to, or the motherboard, you'll never be able to upgrade it. It's just not right. For the life of me, I can't. I don't know why they want to go with proprietary stuff, just so you can't. So you can't upgrade it. I mean, I don't like the fact that, that's such a puny ass thing with no fans. Um, it's basically like these. But these are the wrong ones, too. But it's really damn similar. Yeah, I can't quite find the actual hard drive. Or, why do I keep calling it a hard drive? Power supply. But it's bad. I would never recommend it to anybody to buy. I mean, granted, like I said, it could be a good system if you don't ever plan on upgrading. But if you plan on upgrading, no, it's not. It's definitely not, because if you go out and buy a regular graphics card, excuse me, if you go out and buy a regular graphics card, it's going to overheat that power supply and cause it to fail. Because even the biggest power supply, 500 watt, comes on these. Let's see here. Hang on. See, 500 watt power supply, okay, that's what this is for. If you get that, okay, Google. Let's even try 2070. Yeah, that's not even right. That's not what Intel suggests to use. A 450? No. I know that can't be right. Okay. See? This is what I'm talking about. If you go and get yourself a 2070 from the thing, it's going to need more wattage than that power supply can put out. And then, God forbid, if you want a 2080 or a 2080 Ti, oh, like, let's go 2080 Ti. You go to specs here in the 2080 Ti, the Founders Edition, go to full specs, go to power requirements down a little ways, recommended power supply, system power, so watts. How much is recommended to have? 650 watts, okay? That's 150 more watts than this thing can put out. And you can't go buy a power supply off the shelf and put it in there from a store. You just can't. Ugh. And what's the highest? 2070 Super. Let's go back a couple. All of Dell's cards, by the way, just so you know, are underclocked, crappier cards. So 2070 Super. The actual card from NVIDIA. See? Recommended power, 650. So, that 500 that's in there, that can tell you that that card is so underclocked. It's just like my 1080. My 1080 is an underclocked card. It does not perform like the real cards do. They are watered down versions of the other cards. So this should take a 650 watt power supply, and all that they give it is a 500. It's not good enough. A Dell card is the cheapest type card you can find. Alright guys, I am going to end this video here and let you know that it's just, these new systems by Dell are something to be very careful with, because it's just not good idea at all, really. Especially for the higher end card that they want to put in there, that's going to be drastically underclocked and underperforming because of the power supply. Alright guys, I'm Streaming Iraq War Veteran, and